Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are going to do something a little different. Usually we talk about, big tech trends or massive global shifts. But today I want to start with a very specific, very personal feeling. It's that Sunday night feeling. You know the one?
The Sunday scaries. I think we all know that one.
Exactly. But not just the general existential dread. I'm talking about the specific dread of a business owner or maybe a manager who knows that when they open their laptop on Monday morning, they are going to be greeted by just a wall of administrative chaos.
Oh, yeah.
The unread emails, the scheduling conflicts, the data entry that needed to be done 3 weeks ago. It's just overwhelming.
It's the feeling of drowning in the shallow end, isn't it? You're drowning in tasks that aren't difficult per se, but there are just so many of them that they pull you under.
Right. And the natural reaction to that feeling is, I need help. You think, I need to hire someone. But that thought is immediately followed by a second, even worse dread. The dread of the hiring process itself.
Because the modern hiring landscape, especially for support roles, is, to put it mildly, a minefield. It really is.
It is absolute chaos. I call it freelancer roulette. You go to one of the big marketplaces, we won't name names, but we all know the big green ones or the blue ones. You post a job saying, I need someone to manage my inbox and maybe do some scheduling. And within 45 minutes, what happens?
You get 47 proposals. At least.
And they are all identical. It's this barrage of, dear Sir Madam, I am an expert in inbox management. I am a ninja. I am a guru.
The ninja and guru and rock star keywords, and you have absolutely no way to verify any of it. It's just words on a screen.
Exactly. So you pick one, you spin the wheel, you hire the self-proclaimed Excel ninja, and by Tuesday of week 2, you realize their idea of advanced Excel is knowing how to make the font bold and maybe, if you're lucky, color a cell yellow.
That is the classic transactional trap. And it's not just annoying, it's actually a structural failure of how we've been taught to outsource. You aren't hiring a team member in that scenario. You are, you're just renting a gig worker.
A gig worker who is probably juggling 15 other clients just to make rent. My urgent task is just another ticket in their queue.
Right. And your project is just a stepping stone, a portfolio piece to get the next gig. There's no investment in your actual success.
It is exhausting. And frankly, it makes you want to just do the work yourself, which defeats the whole purpose of trying to get help in the first place. But this is why we're here today. We have a stack of research on a company that claims to be rewriting this entire script. They are called VA Connect.
VA Connect. And I think it is crucial to make that distinction early on. We are not talking about another marketplace here. We are talking about a managed service provider, which is a whole different ballgame.
Right. And what grabbed my attention in the research wasn't just the model, but the geography. This story doesn't start in Silicon Valley or London. It starts in Leeds in the UK. But the solution, the actual engine of this thing, is coming from South Africa.
It's a fascinating intersection of economics, culture, and logistics. We're going to look at why a financial hub in the north of England, a place where the Bank of England is committing 500 staff by 2027, is suddenly relying on talent from the tip of Africa.
And it's not just a random connection. There are deep reasons for it. So today we're going to dig into their vetting system, which the notes here describe as a gauntlet. We're going to talk about why South Africa is the secret weapon, so to speak. And later we absolutely have to talk about their stance on AI.
Oh, yeah?
Because it is completely counterintuitive to what everyone else in the world is doing right now.
That anti-AI mandate is one of the most interesting parts of the research. I mean, in a world that's rushing to automate absolutely everything, they are doubling down on being human. It's a bold move.
It really is. So let's unpack this. I want to start by really deconstructing the marketplace problem. Because I think a lot of people listening might be thinking, well, Upwork works fine for me sometimes. Why is that model fundamentally broken for scaling a business in the long term?
Okay, well, it comes down to game theory, really. Think about the incentives on a platform where there is literally zero barrier to entry. Anyone, anywhere on the planet can create a profile in 5 minutes.
Which means the supply of labor is effectively infinite.
Correct. And when supply is infinite, what happens to price? It just races to the bottom. Everyone is undercutting everyone else. I'll do it for $10. Well, I'll do it for $5. I'll do it for $3 and a good review.
Which sounds great for the business owner initially. I mean,
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to save money? That's the hook, right?
It sounds great until you look at the economics from the worker's side. If I am charging you rock bottom rates, I cannot possibly survive on your project alone. It's just not feasible. I have to play the volume game.
So you have to stack clients.
I have to stack 10, 15, maybe 20 clients just to pay my bills, which means my attention, my focus, is fragmented into 20 tiny pieces.
So when I send an urgent task, I think I'm the priority. But actually, I'm just ticket number 14 in the queue for that day.
Exactly. You are competing for attention against 19 other people. And there was a really sharp observation in the virtual assistant review we looked at. It noted that on these platforms, the freelancer isn't incentivized to do your job well for the sake of your business.
What are they incentivized for then?
They're incentivized to get a 5-star review so they can win the next job. Your project is just the means to an end.
It's a reputation game, not a quality game.
Precisely. It's purely transactional. Once they have that 5-star review, their incentive to care about your long-term success drops to effectively zero.
And we haven't even talked about the hidden costs. This is something that I think trips up so many people. We see the low hourly rate and think, wow, what a bargain. But lay out the real math for us.
Okay, let's break it down. First, there's the platform fee. A platform like Upwork takes up to 20%. So that cheap rate isn't as cheap as you think right off the bat.
Right, so a $10 an hour person is actually $12 an hour.
At least. But the real cost is your own time. Let's say you value your own time at, and this is conservative for a business owner, $100 an hour.
Okay.
If you post a job on a marketplace, you have to write the job description. That's an hour. Then you have to sift through those 50-plus proposals. That's another 2 hours easily. Then you pick a short list of 5 people to interview. That's another 3 hours of calls.
So we are 5 or 6 hours in. That's $600 of my time gone before a single piece of work is done.
And that's if you're efficient. Then you have to onboard the person you picked, get them into your systems, explain everything. And then, statistically speaking, that hire has a very high probability of flaking out or just not working out within 3 months. So you have to do it all over again.
It's a churn and burn cycle.
It creates this massive management tax that never shows up on an invoice, but it bleeds your business dry. It kills your momentum and your focus.
This brings us to the VA Connect model. They pitch themselves as premium offshore with managed quality. It feels like they're deliberately trying to carve out a middle lane between the chaos of the marketplace and the prohibitive expense of hiring locally.
They are the Goldilocks solution. That's a good way to put it. If you think of the market in tiers, right? Tier 1 is the offshore body shop.
Okay, what's that?
Very cheap, usually based in places like the Philippines or India. Can be great for very simple, repetitive tasks, but often you're dealing with, high churn and potential quality control issues. Tier 2 is domestic premium.
That's hiring a VA in New York or London.
Exactly. Great quality, fantastic communication, but you are paying $40, $50, $60 an hour or more.
Which for a startup or a small business is just, it's not going to happen.
Just prohibitive,
Right.
right? So VA Connect sits in the middle. They offer a curated talent pipeline. The key difference is that you, the client, do not browse profiles. You don't play HR manager. You don't sift through 50 applications.
So what do I do?
You come to them with a problem. You say, my inbox is a disaster and I can't keep up with my calendar. And they present you with maybe 1 or 2 pre-vetted candidates who are a perfect fit.
And the pricing is interesting. The sources mention a basic package starting at 12,000 Rand.
Yes, 12,000 Rand. That's the entry point.
Now, for our listeners who aren't constantly checking currency exchange rates, that's roughly, what, $670 US, or about 585 British pounds.
That's about right, and that is for a full month.
A full month of dedicated support. When you do the math, when you really compare it to the true cost of the marketplace model or a domestic hire, it's incredibly competitive.
It is, but the price is almost secondary to the why. Why are they able to offer that price for such high-quality talent? And that's where the location becomes the hero of the story.
This leads us to that Leeds case study. I mentioned this earlier. Leeds is a massive financial hub in the UK. The Bank of England is moving staff there. You have law firms, fintech, high-stakes businesses. Why did they start looking at VA Connect?
It's all about risk. If you are a law firm in Leeds, you cannot have a random freelancer from a marketplace handling your confidential client files. The risk of a data breach or just simple unprofessionalism is way too high.
Okay, so the marketplace is out, but they also have budget constraints. You can't hire a full-time £60,000 a year admin for every single partner.
Exactly. So they were stuck. They needed a solution that had the trust and the quality of a local hire, but the economics of an offshore hire.
And this is where South Africa comes in. The sources call it the cultural nearshore.
Cultural nearshore. I really like that term too. And I want to be clear, it's not just marketing speak. There is a tangible, profound difference between hiring in South Africa versus, say, Southeast Asia for a Western company.
Okay, push on that a bit. What is the actual difference?
It's rooted in sociology and history. We need to talk about high context versus low context cultures.
Okay, take us to sociology class for a minute. What does that mean?
In a high context culture, and many Asian cultures fall into this category, communication is very indirect. It's about saving face. It's about maintaining social harmony. So, if you, a Western manager, ask, can you get this done by 5 p.m., and the answer is really no, that's impossible, they might not actually say the word no.
Why not?
Because saying a direct no can be seen as confrontational or disrespectful. Instead, they might say something like, I will try my best, or it might be difficult.
But to a Western ear, a British or American ear, I will try my best, means it's as good as done.
It means it will happen. So
Right.
when 5 p.m. comes and the work isn't there, you, the manager, feel lied to. You think, why didn't they just tell me? But they didn't lie. They were just communicating in a different cultural key.
And that mismatch creates so much friction. You're sitting there stewing, thinking they're unprofessional, and they're on their end thinking they were being perfectly polite and respectful. It's a disaster.
Precisely. Now, South Africa, largely due to the historical Commonwealth connection, operates as a low-context business culture. It's very similar to the UK, the US, and Australia. Communication is direct. Deadlines are seen as absolute. Yes means yes, and no means no, often followed by an explanation of why and a suggested alternative.
So you don't have to write a user manual on how to communicate with your team member. The basic operating system is already compatible.
That's the perfect analogy. The cultural operating systems are compatible out of the box. You save hundreds of hours of frustration and miscommunication simply because you don't have to bridge that huge cultural gap.
That's a huge point. And then there's the simple, practical matter of the time zone.
The logistical linchpin. This is what makes it near shore in practice. South Africa is on GMT+2. They are virtually on the same clock as the UK and Europe, maybe 1 or 2 hours difference.
So no waiting 24 hours for a reply to a simple question. You can actually talk to them during your workday.
You can have a real-time conversation. But even for the US, think about the overlap. If you are on the East Coast, South Africa is 6 or 7 hours ahead. That means their afternoon is your morning. You can have a Zoom call at 9 a.m. New York time, and they are online, alert, and ready to work with you. It allows for collaboration, not just handoffs.
Right, you're not just throwing work over a wall and hoping for the best when you wake up. And the language, the sources really emphasize this idea of linguistic neutrality.
This is critical, especially for any client-facing roles. South Africans generally speak native or fluent English, but crucially, often with a very neutral, easy-to-understand accent.
So it removes the outsourcing stigma.
It does. When a customer or a supplier picks up the phone, they don't immediately think, oh, I've been routed to a call center in another hemisphere. They just think they are talking to a highly competent professional. It protects the brand's premium feel.
The other thing the sources mention is the education level. This isn't just cheap labor in the exploitative sense of the word.
No, and we need to be very, very clear about that. This is not about exploitation. The talent pool that VA Connect draws from is largely university educated. We are talking about people with degrees in marketing, finance, law, business administration. These are skilled professionals.
So why are they working as VAs instead of in corporate jobs in South Africa?
It's a classic economic mismatch. South Africa has a very high unemployment rate, even for university graduates. The local economy simply cannot absorb all the incredible talent it produces.
So there's a surplus of highly educated, skilled professionals looking for opportunities.
Exactly. And Karen, the founder, who the team apparently refers to as the captain, which I love, she saw this arbitrage opportunity way back in 2008 when she founded the company, which was originally called Lime Tree Consulting.
She realized she could connect this surplus of high-quality talent with the massive global demand for competence and reliability.
It's what one of the sources called first world training at developing market pricing. You're getting a professional who could walk into an office in Leeds or Chicago and fit right in, but you are paying them a competitive local salary in Rand.
But talent is only good if you can actually identify it. You can't just walk onto the street in Cape Town and say, who wants a job? You have to filter. And this is where we get to the gauntlet.
The gauntlet. I love that description because it really is an obstacle course designed to find the absolute best.
Walk us through it. The sources say they filter for the 1% of the 1%. Now that sounds like great marketing fluff. Is it real? How do they do it?
It's very real, and it's a rigorous four-stage funnel. So stage one is the initial application screening. This is the paper filter. They get thousands of applications.
Then what are they looking for?
They're looking for those university degrees we mentioned, of course. They're looking for relevant experience. But they're also looking for something harder to quantify, the ethos of service. They look at how the cover letter is written, the attention to detail. They're looking for people who genuinely want to be in a supportive role.
Okay, so you have the paper credentials, you've passed stage one. What's next?
Stage two is skills testing. And this is where most marketplaces completely fall down. Upwork relies on self-reporting. You tick a box that says, you know Photoshop, Upwork believes you, VA Connect tests you.
Give me a specific example. What does that look like?
Okay, so if you apply to be a marketing VA, you aren't just asked, do you know social media? You are given a real-world scenario. You're given a set of analytics from a failed campaign and asked to interpret what went wrong and what you do differently. You might be asked to create a 3-week content calendar for a specific brand.
So it's practical. What about for an admin VA?
For an admin VA, they might be tested on complex multi-time zone scheduling puzzles. Or they'll be given a messy spreadsheet and asked to clean it up and create a pivot table. It is a practical exam of competence.
So you can't fake it. You either can do the work or you can't. There's no hiding.
Exactly. No hiding. And only a fraction of candidates pass this stage. So then we move to stage 3, which is the interview. But again, it's not your typical tell me about your strengths and weaknesses kind of interview.
What are they looking for then?
They focus heavily on soft skills, problem solving, critical thinking, and most importantly, initiative.
I want to pause on initiative because that is the #1 complaint I hear from people who have hired VAs. They do exactly what I tell them to do, but nothing more. They wait to be told what to do next.
That is the difference between a task doer and a true team member. A task doer waits for instructions. You say, paint this cell yellow. They paint the cell yellow. Done. A team member, the kind they're looking for, says, I noticed you're painting a lot of cells yellow every Friday to track late payments. I've gone ahead and set up a conditional formatting rule that will do it automatically for you from now on so you don't have to waste time on it.
That is the dream. That is what every single business owner wants. Someone who thinks ahead.
And that is what they specifically interview for. They'll give candidates hypothetical problems to see if they can think beyond the immediate task. Can you see the problem behind the task? That's the key question.
Okay, so they've passed the skills test. They've wowed them in the interview. What's stage 4?
Stage 4 is the trial period. Even after a client hires a VA, there is a mandatory 3-month probation period. And here is the kicker. If it doesn't work out during that time, if the chemistry isn't right, or the skills aren't a perfect match in practice, VA Connect absorbs the full replacement cost.
That is a massive differentiator. That's a guarantee. If I hire someone on Upwork and they ghost me after a week, I'm back to square one. I've lost my time and I've lost my money. Here, the agency insures the risk.
You are buying the result, not just the effort. They are standing behind their process. It forces them to be incredibly diligent in the first 3 stages.
Okay, so you found this unicorn VA. They are smart. They're based in South Africa. They've survived the gauntlet. Now, how do you keep them? Because burnout in the gig economy and remote work in general is absolutely real.
It is the silent killer of remote teams. It's the isolation, the lack of growth opportunities, the feeling that you are just a cog in someone else's machine thousands of miles away.
VA Connect seems to have built an entire ecosystem to fight this. Let's talk about VA Varsity.
Pronounced VA Varsity, yeah. This is their internal university. Think of it like a private curated Udemy or Coursera just for their staff, and it is completely free for all their VAs.
That's amazing. So while they are working for my business, they are actively getting smarter and more skilled.
Exactly. The company is investing in them. They are constantly upskilling, learning new software, learning about the latest marketing trends, learning soft skills like advanced communication. It fundamentally changes the psychological contract.
How so?
The VA isn't just working for a paycheck. They are actively building a career. Their value is increasing over time, which benefits them, and it benefits you, the client, because you get an assistant who is getting better every month.
And then there's this thing called atomic energy. Now, I have to play devil's advocate here for a second. I'm a hard-nosed business owner. I see a line item for a wellness program. It says here provide support for diet, exercise, and mental mobility. Why should I care if my remote VA is doing yoga? Is this just corporate fluff?
It's a very fair question. Why am I paying for their gym membership? But let's flip it around. What is the real bottom line cost of a burnt out employee?
Well, their productivity tanks. They work slower. They start making mistakes. Their attention to detail goes out the window.
And eventually they quit. Or worse, they stay and become disengaged and toxic. Remote work, as we said, is incredibly isolating. You are sitting in a room, often alone, staring at a screen for 8, 9, 10 hours a day. It is physically and mentally draining.
You become a Zoom zombie.
Exactly. Atomic energy is essentially preventative maintenance for your human capital. Just like you change the oil in your car to keep the engine from seizing up, VA Connect provides wellness support to keep their VAs, your team members, from burning out. A healthy, energized VA works faster, thinks clearer, and stays longer.
So it's an ROI play, not just a feel-good charity play.
Absolutely. It's 100% an ROI play, and the proof is in the retention rate.
Right. The sources say, and I had to read this twice, 98% retention over a 14-month period.
That number is staggering. It's almost unbelievable. In the BPO, the business process outsourcing world annual turnover can be 30, 40, sometimes 50%. It's a revolving door.
So nearly 100% stability. As a business owner, that means I don't have to keep retraining new people every 6 months. I don't have to start from scratch.
It means you build institutional memory. Your VA remembers what you did for your marketing campaign last Christmas. They know your top clients' names by heart. They know your personal preferences for how you like your reports formatted. That continuity is worth its weight in gold.
There's one more piece to this ecosystem, the VAPI program.
Yeah, the two-way happiness program. It's about ensuring that the remote worker feels genuinely connected, not just to their tasks, but to the team and the client. It ensures the relationship is working for both sides.
I want to pivot now to what was, for me, the most surprising part of all the research. We are living in 2026. AI is everywhere. Every freelancer on the planet is using ChatGPT or Claude or something else to write their emails and reports. And yet, VA Connect has what they call an anti-AI mandate.
It sounds completely regressive, doesn't it? On the surface, it sounds like being anti-electricity or anti-internet.
It does. It sounds like they are Luddites. Put down the calculator and use an abacus. Why on earth are they swimming so hard upstream against this massive technological tide?
Because they've identified a new, very subtle problem that AI has created, the uncanny valley of text. We have all received those emails, and we're getting more of them every day.
Oh, I know the ones. You get a sales email and it starts, "Dear Sir, I hope this email finds you thriving in the dynamic landscape of your industry."
It is crucial that we delve into the synergies and strategize a paradigm shift.
Ugh, it makes my skin crawl. It's too smooth. It's too perfect. There's no human texture to it.
That physical reaction you just had, that skin crawl, that is the sound of trust and connection leaving the room. When a potential client or a business partner receives an email like that, the immediate subconscious reaction is, this person didn't care enough to write to me themselves. They sent a bot.
So average writing, which used to take some effort, is now free, which means average has zero value.
Worse, it has negative value. It insults the recipient's intelligence. So VA Connect has decided to train their VAs to be what they call humanization filters.
Humanization filters. I love that phrase. How does that actually work in practice?
While they don't ban AI completely, that would be foolish, they recognize it's a useful tool for a first draft or for outlining or for research. But they train their staff to take that raw, perfect AI output, and this is the key: break it.
Break it. What do you mean break it?
AI writes in perfect, symmetrical, rhythmic sentences. Every comma is in the right place. Humans are messy. We're imperfect. We use em dashes for emphasis. We vary our sentence length. Some are long, some are short. We start sentences with and or but. Even though our English teachers told us not to, we use idioms.
So they're literally training them to inject the messiness of humanity back into the text.
Exactly, because that messiness, that imperfection, is where the humanity and authenticity live. If you are a financial advisor in Leeds and your VA is emailing a high net worth client on your behalf, you absolutely cannot sound like a robot. You need to sound like a trusted, caring human being.
So in a weird way, as AI gets better and more ubiquitous, the premium on actual human connection goes up.
It is the new luxury good. Authenticity is the only thing you can't automate. And VA Connect is banking its entire brand on the fact that businesses will pay a premium for that authenticity.
Okay, we've covered the culture, the vetting, the wellness ecosystem, the counterintuitive AI stance. Now we have to talk about the bottom line. Because at the end of the day, businesses run on numbers. It has to make financial sense.
Let's do the math. And we need to compare apples to apples, the true fully loaded costs.
Let's look at option A, the Upwork or Fiverr marketplace route.
On Upwork, you might see a rate of, say, £20 an hour. That looks cheap on the surface, but we have to add the hidden costs. Add the 5 to 10 hours of your own expensive time for recruiting. Add the platform fees, and crucially, add the cost of churn.
Right, the churn.
If you have to replace that person 2 or 3 times a year, your effective hourly rate isn't £20. When you factor in the lost productivity and the constant retraining, it's probably closer to £40 or £50.
And the mental load. You are the project manager. You are the HR department. You are the quality control. That's all on you.
Correct. Now let's look at option B, VA Connect,
The basic package starts at 12,000 Rand.
which we said is around £585 per month.
585 pounds. That is, honestly, that's less than some people in London spend on their commute and coffee in a single month.
It is. And for that price, you get the dedicated VA, but you also get the entire management layer behind them. You get the VA varsity ongoing training. You get the atomic energy wellness program that prevents burnout. You get the replacement guarantee.
So there are no hidden fees. I'm not going to get a surprise bill for recruiting time or platform services.
No, the price is all-inclusive. You are paying for a managed service, not just renting someone's hours. And for businesses that need to scale beyond just one person, they have these growth accelerator packages.
The Forge, the Summit, the Apex, they sound very epic. What's the concept there?
They are designed for teams that need to scale quickly and efficiently. And the core concept here is the EVA, the Executive Virtual Assistant.
How is an EVA different from a normal VA?
The EVA is your single point of contact. Let's say your business is growing and you need a graphic designer for some new branding, a copywriter for the website, and a data entry clerk to clean up your CRM. You don't want to hire and manage 3 different people.
God, no, that's a nightmare. That becomes a full-time job in itself.
Exactly. So you hire an EVA through one of these packages. You tell the EVA, we need to launch this new marketing campaign by next month. The EVA then turns around and orchestrates the team of specialists inside VA Connect to get it done. You manage one person, they manage the entire team for you.
That is scaling without the headache. It's like having a fractional chief of staff or an operations manager.
That's precisely what it is. And this aligns perfectly with the research from Stanford University that found remote and hybrid work actually boosts retention and has 0 negative effect on productivity if it is managed correctly. The EVA provides that critical management structure so you, the business owner, don't have to.
So say I'm listening to this and I'm nodding along. I'm tired of playing Freelancer roulette. I want off the ride. How does this actually work? Is it like an e-commerce site where I just click add to cart on a VA?
No, and that is actually a very good sign. If you could just add to cart, it would be a commodity like we discussed. This is a consultative process from the very beginning.
So step 1 is a conversation.
Step 1 is what they call strategy first. You get on a discovery call with their team. They don't just ask, what tasks do you need done? That's a marketplace question. They ask bigger questions. Where is your business going in the next year? What is the biggest bottleneck holding you back? What is your personal working style and personality type?
Wait, why does my personality type matter?
Because of the matching. That's step 2. This is critical. They aren't just matching skills on a resume, they are matching vibes, for lack of a better word.
Okay, explain that.
If you are a fast-paced, chaotic, big-picture visionary, you might need a VA who is extremely grounded, detail-oriented, and organized to clean up your mess and keep the trains running on time. If you are highly structured and systematic yourself, you might need someone who can follow your systems to the letter without deviation. It's about complementary personalities.
So they play matchmaker, a business matchmaker.
They do. Then step 3 is meet and start. Once you approve the match, they handle all the technical setup. They get you integrated into their project management system, usually Bittrex 24, and they help you define the key performance indicators, the KPIs, for the first 90 days. It's a very structured onboarding, so you aren't left flailing around on day 1 wondering what to tell your new hire.
And the roles they can fill cover pretty much anything a growing business needs.
It's a very broad spectrum. We're talking marketing assistants who are genuine creative powerhouses, sales assistants who can handle lead generation, CRM management, and sales funnel support, full dev teams for software engineering, and dedicated project managers who can coordinate entire distributed teams.
It really feels like a structural shift in how we think about building a company. We are moving away from the Wild West of the gig economy into something much more mature and stable.
That is the perfect way to describe it. This is the maturation of remote work. We are moving from hiring a helper to building a distributed organization.
So let's summarize what we've learned today. It's been a lot. We started with the deep, visceral pain of the freelancer marketplace, the inconsistency, the ghosting, the quality lottery.
The lemon market, effectively, where it's hard to tell the good from the bad until it's too late.
We contrasted that with the managed service model of a company like VA Connect, and we looked at the South African advantage, that powerful combination of a cultural nearshore, the convenient time zone, and a highly educated talent pool.
And that incredible game-changing price point of 12,000 Rand a month for a dedicated professional.
We walked through the gauntlet, that intense four-stage vetting process, and the whole support ecosystem of VA Varsity and Atomic Energy that keeps their team retention at an unbelievable 98%.
And we can't forget the humanization training, that commitment to keeping your brand safe from the generic robotic voice of AI that's taking over everything.
If we zoom all the way out, what is the single biggest takeaway here? What's the trend we're seeing?
The big takeaway is that the future of work isn't just remote. Remote is just a location on a map. The future is cooperative. The Great Place to Work study proved definitively that cooperation is the cornerstone of productivity and innovation. You simply cannot get true cooperation from a transactional freelancer who is just passing through.
You need a team, a real team.
You need a real team. And what a service like VA Connect has done is build the infrastructure, the recruiting, the training, the wellness, the management that allows you to have a world-class team without the crippling overhead of building all that infrastructure yourself.
So I want to leave you, our listener, with a final thought today. A challenge, really. Think about your business right now. Think about the person on your team who is the absolute rock star. Maybe it's your head of sales. Maybe it's your operations manager. Maybe it's you.
The one who drives the real value. The one whose time is most precious.
The one who drives the value. Now imagine if you could clone that person. Or if you can't clone them, imagine if you could take every single low-value, repetitive, draining administrative task off their plate.
The email scheduling, the data entry, the research, the follow-ups, all of it.
If you could liberate that key person to focus 100% of their energy on their zone of genius, and you could do it for the cost of 12,000 Rand a month.
What would you stop doing today?
And more importantly, what would you start doing to grow tomorrow? That is the question. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll catch you next time.
Goodbye.